I do actually recommend DJs get into web design because you can build your own website, and it's, as a business owner, it gives you a lot more control. We've got some spare time. You can go and work on your blog. You can go and make the website better. You can do so much stuff in your spare time to try and improve your business online.
Hey, Paul, how's it going?
Yep.
We're here
Yeah, good.
today
Thanks, man.
with Paul Anthony, and we just wanted to get an idea a little bit about his DJ story. So we'll just let
Yep.
Paul pretty much dive straight in and talk about maybe how you got into the DJ industry in the first place.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, it started with my older brother was a DJ. Um, I personally played the guitar, and so I was more into playing guitar and rock music. My older brother, he was into DJing, but what happens? He went on holiday to Europe for 6 months and left some equipment in the garage. And I think we had some family celebrations. It might have been my auntie's birthday or something, and I put my hand up and said, "Yeah, I'll DJ." And it was just like I just had the equipment in the garage, and I just kind of went there and winged it.
DJ by
Um,
accident kind of thing. Or you were forced into it by the family.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it was just like free DJ for them, and for me, it was like I got some equipment in the garage, and and then I realized that I actually really enjoyed doing it, because it was fun, having the music up loud and everyone's dancing and you're the center of attention, the whole DJ thing when you first start DJing. So yeah, that's sort of where the first spark
Hmm.
that got me going.
And when you play live, that's when you really learn, isn't it? Like when you really kind of on the battlefield and you've got people, and if you make a mistake, uh, the music stops, and it's okay to make mistakes,
Yeah.
but I guess that's how you progress fast. So did you manage to book some gigs after that, or how did you progress?
Yeah, actually, what happened is the way my DJ business started was that I had a friend. He worked at McDonald's full time, and he was working there for 7 or 8 months or something. And he didn't know what to do with his money because he suddenly went from, like, I think he quit school in year 10 and went working full time McDonald's, and so he didn't know what to do with his money. He was just like shouting everyone beers and cigarettes and let's go to the movies, and it was just paying for everyone. And I could see him blowing all his money. And from my perspective of not having any job and having any money, I was like, geez, you're wasting your money, man. And so it got my sort of thinking going, and I suggested the idea to him. I said, hey, I've got some equipment in the garage. Let's put an ad in the local paper, and let's buy some extra equipment like some smoke machine and some lights and stuff, and let's do it. And so that's what we did. Actually just got on a bus and went to a DJ store and bought a smoke machine, lights, a few top 40 CDs, and that's how my DJ business started. Pretty much, that's it all began from there.
Yeah, right. I can just picture it. You guys kind of on the bus, going to like all excited, going to pick up your first kind of DJ equipment.
And yeah, and like back in them days, as I was just saying, like we got our first gigs from the local newspaper. I used to advertise in the back section where they got the classifieds section, and I made business cards out of laminated print. I printed them up on a machine, and we put posters up on bus stops. So that was the initial beginning. I guess my DJ business sort of took a step up when I finished high school. I started working full time, and I was working as a courier driver delivering car parts and doing the DJ business on the side. And what I realized, my boss wouldn't let me answer the phone when I was at work, and sometimes the phone would ring, and my boss would be staring at me like, "Don't pick up the phone." I'd be like, damn. And then I'd call back the customer later, and they'd chosen another DJ already. And so I kind of realized that in that 5 minutes that I missed that phone call, I could make as much money in one night as I was making in a whole week back then. So pretty much that helped me make the decision to just quit my job, full-time job, and start doing the DJ business full time.
Yeah, so you made that calculated decision based on how much you could make and how much you were kind of losing by not answering those calls. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was probably only making about $300 or $400 a week back then, and I was charging $300 or $400 for a DJ gig around the year 2000. And so I thought, I could take the whole day off and catch the phone all day, or start ringing venues or visiting venues, and make 10 times as much money. So that was the logic behind it. But actually, one thing I did before I quit my job was I actually got a small bank loan with using my job as leverage,
Mm.
and I think I bought like 2 sets of equipment or something like that.
Yeah, right. And do you remember maybe one of your first venues that you managed to land? Like like, and also when did you decide to make that jump? Like when did you decide to take the kind of pledge of going diving deep? And I guess when you took out the loan, that was a pretty big commitment right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a little bit of a commitment. I mean, that was just buying 2 sets right there. Um, Something I kind of skipped past was that uh, with my friend, he I loaned the 2,000 off him, and it took me a year to pay him back $1,000, which put me and him both 50% ownership of the business. And then what happens first? I had an opportunity to get another set of equipment secondhand for $2,000, and my older brother, he offered to loan me some money. So that was actually my first loan, was getting a loan from my brother. And I thought, wait a minute, I'm doing all the work. I was doing all the phone calls and doing advertising and designing the business cards. My friend just rocked up to the gigs. So I thought, I should just buy him out, because I'm doing all the work and I don't want to be doing the work and he's still getting 50%. Um,
Hmm.
so so yeah, basically what happened is my brother loaned me $4,000. I bought the new equipment for 2,000. I paid him out another $2,000, I think. So there's a little bit of extra money that he got as a bonus. And then yeah, basically he started working for me. So that's when I got to 2 sets of equipment. And then it was another year or two after that was when I bought another 2 using my full-time job. And then I quit my job, and then I had my 4 sets of equipment.
So you were kind of slowly scaling yourself up and scaling yourself out
Slowly
of your
scaling.
current kind of
Yeah.
car automotive delivery path.
Yeah, yeah. My dream back then was to, within 10 years to be a millionaire and have, an Australia-wide DJ business. So, um, I started thinking, I'm going to go from, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, and just keep growing and growing and growing.
Hmm.
So, so that's what I did. And I guess another pivotal moment in the growth of my DJ business was around 2006. So by 2006, this old secondhand, the first 2 sets of equipment I had was starting to fall apart,
Hmm.
and the other 2 sets of equipment, the ones that I got the bank loan for, that was also starting to have problems. I had some old amps, and I was keep getting speaker repairs and issues and stuff. And I could see I had a software that my brother started developing, because he was a programmer. He started developing a software for me, and I could see that every year my business was pretty much doubling in size.
Hmm.
So in 2006, I had these 4 sets of equipment, but they were kind of falling apart, and I was a bit worried how I was going to make it through the second half of the year. And that was when I kind of sat down. I was listening to a guy named Brian Tracy and Robert Kiyosaki at the time,
Hmm.
and Brian Tracy in particular sort of was talking about how to use loans to your advantage, so that you can kind of make a decision on whether you should get a loan or not.
Hmm.
So to put it in a nutshell, I was able to get $40,000 worth of equipment, a loan, but it was not through a bank, because the banks would never give me a bank loan. It was like a finance company. So that I basically got 4 sets of equipment for $20,000, another 4 sets of equipment for $20,000. One was on a 2-year loan, one was on a 3-year loan, and the one that was on a 2-year loan, I ended up paying back over 2 years $28,000, and the one that was on a 3-year loan, I ended up paying back $32,000. So I paid a ton of interest, but
Hmm.
actually, even though there was a lot of interest there, the thing that helped me make the decision was looking at the monthly payments
Hmm.
and how much that was now going to enable me to make. So to paying off I think it was the 3 sets was going to be $800 the 3 years was $800 a month, and the 2 years was about $900 or $1,000 a month, right? So that was about $1,800 a month.
Mhm.
and suddenly I've got 8 brand new sets of equipment. Each set of equipment I can make about $300 profit, um, and uh, I think that works out to about 3 grand every Saturday night that I could potentially make
Mhm.
from that. So I've got to pay 1,800 a month, but I could make $3,000 every Saturday night. So once I kind of realized that, it was like that kind of aha moment,
Mm.
and that helped me make the decision to go, yep, I'm going to do this, and I did it. So I
Mm.
basically went from you know 3 falling apart sets of equipment in 2006 at the start to 8 brand new sets at the end of 2006. And I think one Saturday night I had 16 or 17 bookings in December.
Wow.
So I really blew my business up that year.
Yeah, in just the space of 1 year, that's very impressive. And I can imagine how much kind of footwork would have had to go into that, and that decision
Mm.
to also make to have to sit down and make that decision, informed decision of, am I going to be able to produce more later? Is my
Yeah, yeah.
future going to be more prosperous? Yes, well, then I can afford to pay some interest and get these loans.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a tough decision because as I was saying, like I tried to go to the banks as as a business owner without a full time job.
Mhm.
With a full time job, it's a bit easier to get a loan because you just get a letter from your boss and says, yeah, he's been working with us a
Yeah.
while, and
Don't worry, we
we're
got the
not going to
shackles. We
fire
got
him
the
anytime
shackles on him
soon.
real good.
Yeah, and so the bank just give you money pretty easily if you've got a full time job. But when you're running your own business, the whole thing with your accountant is they're always trying to show that even if you're turning over a lot of money, and I think I was turning over $60,000 or $70,000 a year, your accountant is always trying to minimize your income tax. So he's going to say, yeah, my client made $60,000 this year, but he spent $55,000, so his income was only $5,000. So
Mm,
that's the way the bank looks at you. You've just made $5,000 this
mm,
year, so they don't want to give you a loan. So that was the whole catch 22 with trying to reduce your income tax with the accountant. And so that's why I ended up going with some, I guess you could call it a dodgy finance company in a way,
mm,
with the super high interest rate. But it didn't matter about the super interest rate because what I learned from Brian Tracy at the time was that you just got to look at the return on investment.
mhm,
That's the important thing. Like if you know that you're going to make the money back, then it's a no-brainer. So
mm,
understanding that was a kind of pivotal moment in the growth of my business.
mhm,
And I think by 2009, I had all of that equipment paid off. So suddenly, I was doing 8 to 10 bookings nearly every Saturday night for 3 years until 2009, and then I was paying $1,800 a month to pay off that equipment, and then suddenly I don't have to pay $1,800 a month. I've got an extra two
mm,
thousand or $1,800 a month cash flow. So what I did at that time was I basically went and moved into a big warehouse in Collingwood. So
mhm,
I upgraded, moved into a 3 level warehouse, and moved half of my equipment in there. And I built this brand new website. It cost me $8,000 for a new website, but this website was targeting all the major cities in Australia for SEO. And so I had this SEO guy. He was a friend of mine,
mm,
and he was way ahead of the game. He knew how to get to the top of Google way before everyone else, and he built this really good website for me. So basically, we built this website within 6 months. I was getting not only bookings in Melbourne every week, but I started getting phone calls for all the other cities. And the way I handled it was I just started taking the bookings and I started ringing up DJs in other cities and saying, hey, I need a DJ at this place, and I would negotiate a good price with them. I'd say, look, I'm
mhm,
going to be sending you, 1 or 2 or 3 gigs a month. What's the best rate you can do for me? So I'd negotiate a good deal with the DJs, and I'd start sending bookings weekly in some other cities. So, started spreading out Adelaide, Perth, Sydney, Gold Coast, Brisbane, Canberra, Geelong, all of them, 8 or 9 major cities.
And did they all have their
And
own equipment? Did they all have their own DJ
I I
equipment?
was just I was just networking with other DJ
Mm.
companies.
Okay, yeah.
I'd be getting like phone calls in other cities. I think I was quoting at the time 450. I was negotiating to pay the DJs $300, so I'd make $150 profit,
Mhm.
just for basically taking a booking, looking after the client, confirming the booking, talking about the music. I did all the admin work,
Mhm.
um, and uh, yeah, and so I do that until I have a booking every week in a particular city. And then what I did was I started, in Brisbane, I think was the first city I branched out to. I started getting a booking every week in Brisbane. And then eventually what I did is I had one weekend where I had a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday booking.
Mhm.
And I put an ad in some universities for DJs. I went up, went up to Brisbane, spent a day there, interviewed a bunch of people, chose someone, and then on that weekend with the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I went up and trained the DJ over a weekend. And I think I came back the next weekend and did another couple of trainings with him. And I slowly did that around Australia. So between 2009 to 2012, I doubled again. So I went from 8 sets up to 16 sets, but I had 8 in Melbourne and another 8 spread around Australia. So I kind of achieved my goal in a way,
Mm.
from my original goal
Yeah,
to
you
be an
had the
Australia-wide
national.
DJ business.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I guess at the peak, it was doing 80 to 100 gigs a month, between 2010 to 2012.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. And these people that you found, did you how did you pick people? Because when you're growing your business, I think that's crucial, right? To get the right
Yeah.
people involved.
Yeah, that's a good question. Like 9 times out of 10, I would choose someone with no prior experience, which is probably the opposite that most other way that most people would do it.
Mm.
But the problem was that, and I learned this years earlier, is that when you're going, saying or looking for someone with experience, first of all, there's not many people that put their hand up. Like, where do you advertise that? How do you find people who are DJs? This is before Facebook. This is before, the internet was even super huge. I mean, the internet was around, but it wasn't easy to find people back then.
Mhm.
So I had to open the doors up to anyone who wanted to be a DJ, even if they have no experience, and I would train them up from scratch. So what I was looking for was just someone who I thought would be loyal and punctual, and obviously I'm giving them all the equipment and the music, so someone I can trust.
Mhm.
So that were the main skills. Just someone who was reliable, and someone who's outgoing as well, not someone who's closed in and timid. I want someone who's outgoing and punctual. Pretty much, that was what I was looking for.
And how involved were you in the process of like every weekend you're getting bookings? Were you also having to DJ every weekend, or did you have a bit more time at that point?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was still DJing every weekend. So
Mm.
pretty much for the last, from between year 2000 to the 2012, I was probably DJing pretty much every weekend.
Mm.
So I DJ quite a lot. I think at least 1,500 parties by that time. Um, so yeah, so I was still going out there doing the jobs because I was, especially in Melbourne, I had 8 sets still. So I was the
Mm.
one who taught the DJs. And so I was just constantly teaching new DJs. You might teach one DJ and then another DJ leaves. And then,
Mhm.
it was a little bit tiring at times. But yeah, I was constantly like recruiting and training DJs. So
Yeah. Wow.
that's what I was doing with my time. Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of upskilling people, and then having to mix yourself, and then managing those customer relations as well, and the administration of things. I can imagine that would
It's
have
a lot of
taken its
work.
toll. Yeah.
It's a lot of work. You got to, are you managing 16 physical sets of equipment
Mm.
and booking them out, doing 20, 25 sales a week, having 2 full-time sales staff and an event manager, um, and
Servicing
then,
the equipment,
repairing and
everything.
replacing
Yeah.
equipment. Oh, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Mm.
So, I was making, pretty decent money at the time, but there was a lot of work that I had to put into it.
Hmm. And did you ever take
Um,
a break? Like, did you?
yeah. Actually, it's interesting you say that. Like around 2011 was the first time that I took a break. I went to Thailand
Hmm.
for 3 weeks with one of my employees, and we had a really awesome time. Like we had a blast,
Mm.
and it was. I think I didn't know what a holiday felt like until I went to Thailand in 2011, and I basically came back to Melbourne and for a week, and I was just cold and I was kind of depressed, and I booked a one-way ticket back to Thailand. So I came back for like 3 months, and partied every day. But I did that while I still had my DJ business going in the background. So I started kind of learning how to remotely manage my DJ business. I started getting involved with Skype, and you know, finding ways to keep my employees motivated even while I was away.
Mhm.
Um, but the big pivotal moment actually was about 2013. So what happened in 2013 is that website that I was telling you about. I actually did that upgrade in 2008.
Mhm.
The $8,000 website that I got made up. Um, that the rankings of that website. So basically, what happened is that within 6 months of building that website, it was hitting page one in the top three positions for every city in Australia, and that's what helped me expand out to all the other cities. Now, in 2013, I think I had actually just got a residency DJing at a rooftop club in Thailand. So I was DJing every night,
Mm.
a nightclub. I had my DJ business in Australia. I was living the life basically. I had the pump and DJ business. DJing the club every night
Mhm.
in Thailand. And then I came back in 2013 after the high season. I got back to Melbourne,
Mhm.
and my employer was like, my sales guy was like, dude, he goes, the phone's been really quiet.
Mhm.
And I went and started looking into it. I started digging around on Google, and then I realized that my rankings had dropped from pages one all the way down to pages three and four for every city. So what had happened is Google had come out with an algorithm update, and it literally just smashed my DJ business off the rankings, which would be fine. But the problem was that I was already now invested with paying the rent of the office, and I had, all my DJs out there with all my equipment, and so suddenly, uh, my sales had dropped by 50 or 60%
Mhm.
within a few months. So that caused a bit of a turning point in my DJ career.
Wow, I can imagine, yeah, going from that absolute high life to kind of just getting that massive blow.
Yeah, it was a serious knockdown. But I guess looking back, it was kind of uh, it's changed who I am, and it's kind of it's made me a different person in a way. Because what happened
Mm.
because of that, I started learning about SEO myself. I was like, I can't believe this. And the guy who was my friend who made my website,
Mm.
he we weren't talking anymore. Like his company grew as well, and he had a big office with 20 or 30 people, and he didn't have time to chat with me. We weren't hanging out anymore. So I started learning about SEO myself, and I started learning about web design, and I kind of got into WordPress. I started reading heaps. I was like, I can't let this ever happen to me again.
Mhm.
Um, and so I got into web design, and in the last 6, 7 years, I've built now over 50 websites. I've learnt how to do SEO myself, and now I'm back on page one in every city. I'm not in the top three positions. I'm in the top five positions for every major city.
Mm.
So yeah, that wouldn't have. I wouldn't have got into web design if that didn't happen. If I wasn't pushed and forced. And the other thing that happened was that I moved out of my office. I downsized, and I slowly over time I actually started building an app. I think I mentioned before
Mhm.
my older brother started building an app for me around the year 2000. Well, in 2013, when all this happened, I sort of thought I need a new way to make money, and something that's going to set me into the future because I put so much hard work and effort into growing my DJ business. And then suddenly overnight, it had just tumbled to the ground.
Mm.
But at the same time, while it was down on the ground, I also thought, but I want to spend more time traveling because now I've got the travel bug, and I want more freedom with my life. So that's where I came up with the idea to rebuild this app that my brother originally made into an online platform. So I started doing that as well with the web design, and on the side, I basically found a developer from India.
Mhm.
He started working on an app for me, and I've had a few different developers over the years. And yeah, that's kind of how it's kind of changed my direction in life,
Mm.
but I think for the better. The other thing is that I kind of I trimmed my business down. I downsized. I sold all my equipment, and in the last couple of years, I've sort of officially turned my DJ business into a DJ agency where I don't have to worry about training DJs and buying equipment and all that sort of stuff, those
Mhm.
problems that I sort of had in the past. It wasn't a, it's look, owning equipment and buying and training DJs is fine if you're happy to stay in one place, because you kind of need to be in one
Mhm.
place to constantly train your DJs and look after them stuff. But for me at that point in life, I already decided I wanted to travel more, and I didn't want to be restricted to being in Melbourne the whole time.
Mhm.
And so I needed to find a way to continue my business without all those strings attached. So I turned into a DJ agency,
Mhm.
and that's how I do it now. So these days I maintain my own website.
Mhm.
I do my own SEO. I probably do about 20 or 30 bookings a month, but it's just me, and I've got DJs working for me around Australia. So, I've just totally transformed it. Now I don't have the full time staff, and I live in Thailand for 6 months every year. Basically following up my customers and running my business from over here. So
Mhm.
it's been quite a journey.
Okay, so that app, is that Event Master Pro? Is that the one that you kind of built over
Yeah,
time? Is that
yeah,
what you're talking about? Okay, yeah.
yep. That's Event Master Pro. Yeah, it's just like an online platform, but it's actually even evolved from the original app that my brother made, because the original one was a bit more of an old school looking software, whereas the new one looks a bit cooler, but it's also got a bit more automation with email and that sort of stuff as well. So, so yeah,
Yeah, wow. Amazing. So you went from kind of aspiring business owner to DJ to kind of website developer now to kind of software developer, but you've still had that
yeah.
underlying, like the DJ has always been part of it,
Uh,
and
I've
just
kept the DJ thing in my life. I still got the passion for DJing.
and you've managed to kind
I
of
still
build up
love DJing.
business, like the business side of it, in a
Yeah,
massive, massive way. Because what do
yeah,
you think?
yeah.
Do you think? Because for me, a big part of the way you think, you have a very business orientated mind, and I think it's amazing.
Mm.
Uh, and I just trying to think of the story. Did like business pull you into DJing, or did DJing pull you into business, or was it always just the two things just symbiotically came together?
Um, I actually started playing trumpet when I was about 6 or 7. So I played trumpet because my cousins used to play, and I used to want to hang out with my cousins. So I started playing trumpet, and then the conductor of the band, he really wanted to have young people more learning in the band. So I eventually was doing solo competitions around Victoria. So I was pretty good at the trumpet by the age 12.
Mm,
Grade 6, I was doing solo competitions. So I think music was always there, because I went from the brass instruments, I went to guitar, and then and I played in a heavy metal band from 16 to 21.
mhm,
We played at many popular venues around Melbourne. So I played a heavy metal band. So music was always there, but it kind of morphed over into DJing, and I do music production as well. So it's everything music. I mean, I
mm,
love music. I like to do the things that I love. Um, Whether I'm making money or not. But
mhm,
yeah, I think it was the business side. You know what? I think the business side came from my dad.
mm,
He's not an academic, but he was also like that. He went and he learned how to become a mechanic because he was sick of mechanics ripping him off. So that's why he became a mechanic, and then he went and got into the taxi industry, and then he bought 2 or 3 taxi licenses and had taxis working for him, and then he got into the car parts. He went and bought a car parts shop. So I didn't think my dad,
mm,
he didn't study business at school. He was just
mm,
a foreigner that came here in the 60s,
mhm,
and just winging it. And I'm the same in a way. Like I've not never been an academic person. I think it's just been a natural thing for me to think that way in terms of money.
mm,
My parents have always been really super strict on me. Like I had a really, really strict parents. My friends used to pick on me a lot because my parents were so strict. And I think that would have helped me with my discipline in terms of saving money
mm,
and deciding where to spend the money and that sort of thing. So
mm.
I think that's where it comes from. It's like the mixture of that and my passion for music combined.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like you took your learnings from music and the creative aspect of it, and then applied it to kind of solving problems and seeing these gaps in the
Mm.
market in a creative way, and that's very very cool. And I'm interested to know kind of where it is now, and where maybe you
Yep.
see it going in the next 5 years or so.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I've been working my ass off on this app, basically. So I've had three or four different developers working on the app over the last 7 years. I've spent a ridiculous amount of money, well over $100,000, countless hours, 40 hours a week for 5 or 6 years straight. There's been times where we took little breaks, but pretty much full time for 5 years. And I'm just about at the point of getting ready to market this worldwide and going for, in particular, the American market. That's the largest market in the world for DJs. I'm starting to get a few. I've got some DJ company from New York that just contacted me earlier today, that's interested to use my app. So I'm just at the starting point of marketing, but my goal is to have, if you look into the software as a service industry, the potential is huge. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. So, if I have even just 100 DJs, that would make a decent annual income. But if,
Hmm.
if you get to 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 or 20,000 DJs or, businesses on the platform,
Hmm.
it's got a huge potential. So, look, it's kind of hard to say where I think I'm going to be, but
Mm.
I expect to be doing really well. I'm very determined, and I've had my mum and dad in my ear, in particular my mum, telling me to give up. She's like, "What are you doing? You got to buy a house," and she's like trying to get me to quit and just go and get a full-time job. I'm like, no way, I'm not getting a job. I'm gonna be successful. So I'm determined to be successful with this, just like I was with my DJ business. My mum
Mm.
used to do that same thing
Mm.
15 years ago before my DJ business took off. She used to, wake me up at about, I used to sleep until 12. She opened the
Mm.
curtains, go, "What are you doing? Get up, go to university, get a job." I'm like, "No, I'm running my DJ business. This is what I want to do, right?"
Mm.
So it's the same now, actually. I'm going back to that loop
Mm.
where where my mum doesn't have that faith in me. But I'm pretty determined, and I think yeah, I'm at breaking point. I think soon it's all going to happen. I'm
Mm.
getting a lot more interest in DJs coming on board. So
Yeah, and it
yeah, if
seems like
anyone
a
wants to
theme.
check it out,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, to check out the Event Master Pro, and you had it a free trial. I've been playing around with it, and it's
okay,
very
cool,
powerful. It's very very powerful. It's a
yeah,
platform where I guess you can manage your relationships, you can send automations, you can uh,
yeah.
yeah, you can basically manage a DJ agency uh, as as like a franchise almost, and it's
Mm-hmm.
incredible. It's
The
incredible.
idea, yeah, um, the kind of motto I go by is systemize, automate, scale, and the app itself is, uh, in a way, it was a copy of the way I was running my DJ business. Although you can customize the app to your business, but the app is the system and it has the automation. So this is going to help you systemize and automate your DJ business, and then allow you to scale your DJ business, especially if you don't have to buy DJ equipment and train DJs. So if you are a DJ agency, it's easier to scale because you don't have to have the capital to buy new equipment. Um, but the app itself is there to make running a DJ business fun. It should be fun. So the user interface is modern. It's got some cool reports on the dashboard. You just put this inquiry form into your website. It does automatic quoting. It follows up with customers automatically after the event. Now, obviously, I like to call people and catch them on the phone because that's really important to develop rapport with your inquiries.
Hmm.
But if you don't catch them, the app does automated follow-ups and it looks like an email written by you. So it does a lot of advanced stuff that most DJs would not normally um, have those tools at their disposal. It's bringing a lot of power to even the individual DJ, right up to a 10 set DJ equipment, or 20 DJ business. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's like a complete solution, basically.
Yeah, well, I've had a lot of fun playing with it, and I guess one of the tough questions I always like to ask is, so if do you have any kind of advice that you would give? So if you, let's just say it's either you and you're talking to yourself just starting, or maybe you're just talking to a new DJ, what kind of
Yep.
advice would you give them in this new kind of digital age?
You mean if I was giving advice back to myself years ago?
Yeah, like just as you're starting to DJ
To a
or
newer
or
guy?
to a new
If I was going to
DJ.
give a guy advice, yeah. Look, my advice would be to just copy the way I'm doing my business. And that is to be a DJ agency because, like I said, unless you've got a lot of money to go and buy equipment and you're really dedicated and going to put the time in to train DJs, which that's possible. The benefit of that is that you make more profit because you pay the DJs less when you provide the equipment and the music and everything, but you pay them more when it's their own equipment and stuff, right? But the advantage to getting DJs who have their own equipment already is that they're already invested themselves in the game, and they do it for many years, and you don't. And the big advantage is that you don't have to buy the equipment and train the DJs, so it's much easier to scale. Like if next week you get 50 bookings, all you got to do is ring up 50 DJs, or have 50 DJs on your books. I mean, you don't want to
Mhm.
be calling people last minute for bookings. What I'm saying is, I actually go in advance and find DJs that I like, that I think, okay, this guy should be good. I'll give him a try, and I put the profile on my website. So I've got like 60 or 70 DJs on
Mm.
my website, and if next weekend I get 10 bookings in every city, I can handle it.
Yeah, right.
And I don't have any equipment, and I don't have to train any of these DJs, and I'm sitting here in Thailand on my own, and so I can handle 30 sales in a month, um, just working 2 or 3 hours a day. So that is, I think that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I think another thing I kind of gather from some of your learnings is about kind of website design and learning a bit more,
Mm.
because having to pay like $8,000 for a website, web designers still charge $20,000, but it's much easier these days.
It's Yeah, it's much easier these days. Yeah, like I mean, I build websites for people for sometimes $2 or $3,000. In some cases, if it's a really simple website, I might do 1,000. And the reason I do it much cheaper is because 10 years ago, the web designers had to build the websites from scratch. Like they had to just code the website together, or maybe they had a program that made it a little bit easier. But now with WordPress, you literally install a theme and some plugins, and like 80% of the website is done. Now you just got to customize it, change the colors, put your logo in, and it's much quicker and easier to build a website these days.
Mm.
But I guess the web design skills is probably good for any business owner because it does get expensive even for me to have to pay my developer and my app. I would love it if I could code my own app,
Mm.
so I wouldn't have to pay someone all the time. But at the moment, I have to. Maybe in 10 years, you'll be able to build an app without having to know any coding at all. And I'm sure that day is going to come. Um, but right now, you have to rely on a coder, and it was like that, back in 2008 as well. But it's not like that anymore. So, I do actually recommend DJs get into web design
Mm.
because you can build your own website, and it's, as a business owner, it gives you a lot more control. We've got some spare time. You can go and work on your blog. You can go and make the website better. You can do so much stuff in your spare time to try and improve your business online.
Awesome. Excellent. So we're about to hit the 40-minute mark. So we'll probably cap it
Yeah,
there.
cool.
But do you have any last words, or maybe if someone wants to learn a bit more about you, where can they find you?
Um, well, look, the website, if you would like to get a trial with the app, it's www.eventmasterpro.com.
Hmm.
But I've actually putting together a 10-day build or DJ website training mini course. So we'll probably put a link up on the screen somewhere or put it down below when that's ready. It's going to be ready real soon. So hopefully by the time you publish the video, I'll have this 10-day mini course ready. So anyone's welcome to go and check that out. And
Awesome.
I'll just teach you step by step. I send a little video to you every day to teach you how to build your own DJ website.
Oh, awesome. Excellent, Paul. Well, yeah, thanks so much. Thanks for all that value, and it's been a pleasure to hear your story. And it's I love it how everyone's got a different story, and also how we're all driven by slightly different different things in our lives, takes different courses, and that's kind of led you there. You're in Thailand right
Yeah,
now, just kind of kicking back, working on your app, and well, not kicking back, but obviously working hard. Uh,
yeah, yeah,
so yeah, so thanks again,
yeah.
and I look forward to having a chat soon.
Cool. All right. See you later. It was Pleasure to be here.
Cheers.